Dan too. I mean, if they start, if they start shanking them where it's one out of every other one, they'll hear it.
All right, here, we'll go in 10 seconds. All right, Coach, you had 2 games on the road, got 2 wins, the results you wanted. One at ULM, then coming home this week and get Southern. Just kind of talk about the week that you had.
Sure, yeah. Louisiana Monroe was a fantastic game. It was a game that was Monroe's home opener. It was a game that they had installed some new scheme work, as we were told after the game, for our match, and they were committed. They had great energy. They executed their game plan really well, and it was a fantastic match. It was a game that really demanded our best, our maturity. We matured as we went through the match. And I was proud of our kids for the response that they had on the road. It's always tough going to someone's place, and anytime you can get the result on the road, and even if you come out a little flat, which we did, when you consider all the games that we've played up in our non-conference schedule so far, it's not a question of if you're going to have an off game. It's a question of when. And the difference between this year and last year is the off game that we had last year, pretty much same time after a challenging non-conference schedule. We didn't get the result. This year, we got the result. And so there's something to be said for that. But our kids are honest and they're accountable, and they know that, yes, we want to win. We want to prepare to win, but we also want to play well. And so that was the challenge to them once we left Monroe, is to be accountable and to make sure we're honest in the feedback. And the feedback I gave them one Saturday in individual meetings. So we came into Sunday against Southern, expecting to be able to impose ourselves and to play just a better tactical game, a better technical game with our speed of play, and they did that. I mean, they were able to impose themselves in several different areas, and especially territory, against a team that played very similarly to Louisiana Monroe in that they kept 9, 10 players behind the ball at any given time. And so I was impressed with our players and tactically how they followed our game plan, and ultimately the results that we got and the way that we were able to play a lot of our players, because everyone has earned minutes, everyone's done well. And then for Chelsea to break the record and to do that here at home in front of her family was fantastic.
Talk about Chelsea Raymond. I mean, she finally gets that. It's 98 points and counting, and there's more goals to be scored, but talk about what that accomplishment is for her in the program.
Oh, it's fantastic. I think that any time that a player can put themselves in a position to hit a benchmark like that, one, it's a testament to that player and their resiliency, because that's not an easy statistic. That's not an easy category to lead. It takes consistent performances over many, many seasons. But it's also a testament to teammates. It's a testament to the way that we play. It's a testament to the kind of teammates that Chelsea has, and she'll be the first to tell you that she has some great teammates, and there are a lot of goals left for her to score. There are a lot of goals left for her teammates to score, for her to be a part of from an assist standpoint. And so what I really like about this team, our opponents, they're gonna recognize that. They're gonna read the press releases. They're gonna see video, and if Chelsea is what they go into a game focusing on, there's no doubt we're going to be in a position for players and supporting players around her to be just as dangerous. And so right now our front five is firing pretty well. We're scoring some good goals. We're creating some great attacks, and I think we're imposing ourselves in possession. I think our linking play has really improved over the last couple weeks, and so I'm excited to not only for Chelsea moving forward, but to see how Chelsea fits into our schemes and how our team builds around her.
So you talk about building schemes, and you've been able to shift your schemes each game, each week, and evaluate, especially with this tough non-conference schedule you've had. What have you been able to take away from these girls and be able to implement going into conference play?
Sure, it's a good question. I think without a doubt we've competed well regardless of opponent, home or away, neutral site. I mean, we've seen it all. We've been up goals, we've protected leads, we've been down goals, we've come back, and some games we've come back and won. 2 games we came back and we didn't win. So for me, going into conference, I feel really confident that there's not a scenario that's going to present that we haven't dealt with. We've already dealt with injuries. We've dealt with shifting our lineup 2, 3, and 4 deep in different positions. And so I'm confident that our players are prepared, and they've got some rest under them. They have a long week again this week to prepare for Northwestern on Sunday. So you play this kind of non-conference schedule so that when you head into conference, you have confidence. You're getting results is part of building confidence, but having experiences is a massive part of the confidence element. And so we've gotten both of those. We've gotten great results. We've built confidence, and so I'm excited as we head into Sunday.
And then in closing, you open conference play this Sunday, Northwestern State. Talk about familiarity with head coach George Van Linder, and then trying to go 4 for 4 with conference titles for the senior class.
Sure. No, George is a good coach. He's got a good team. And I tell you, especially the front half of conference play, everyone has a chance. Some teams, view this as a second season or a new season, a new opportunity. We view it, every game's important to us, which is why we play the non-conference schedule that we play. But George is going to have them ready to play. And going to Northwestern on a Sunday at their place, they're going to be ready to go. And so we're going to have our focus. We're going to have to execute, and they're going to demand our best. And there's no doubt, though. I think that the response that we had to Friday's game on Sunday, our kids will be ready. We'll be sharp. We'll be ready to go. And then, regarding the 4th consecutive title, you talk about it. I'm one of those that tells our players, don't hesitate talking about it. If it is so delicate that we can't talk about it except in a whisper, well, then we're not doing our job. We're not the team that I think we are. And so, to pretend that players aren't talking about it, to pretend that, different supporters and fans aren't talking about it, that's not the route we'll go. We'll talk about it. We'll be up front with it. And then as a staff, we got to make sure it's our job to make sure our kids are grounded, humble, and ready to work and rededicate themselves every single match. And I trust this team, and they'll be ready to rededicate and get after it on Sunday.
Thank you for your time, Coach, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Coach, first we'll just start off. You had a couple days now to kind of compress the win over A&M Commerce and look at the film, go over the good and the bad from Saturday.
You know, a lot of positives. Again, we played 60-something football players. I think the week before we played 67 or 68, so I thought, you know, getting a lot of young people in the game was a positive thing. You know, defensively, though, I just, you know, can't say enough about how well we're playing defensively as far as our effort, the improvements that we've made in tackling, running to the football, taking proper angles, just our fundamentals. We did have some assignment busts, though, things that, you know, in a closer game, a deeper team, those things become magnified that we've got to get cleaned up. But, you know, the effort, the intensity, the focus, the enthusiasm, the confidence that those guys are playing with on defense is pretty obvious. And, you know, again, we're giving up 20 points in 2 games and not a lot of yards and, you know, doing some really good things over there. Offensively, I was very impressed with some things as well. You know, I thought we obviously had a lot of yards, 648 or 50 yards, and threw some touchdown passes, ran for some, had big plays. The disappointing thing, I didn't feel like we played as detailed or as physical as we could have up front. Their front four had a little bit to do with that. The young man, the big kid in the middle there, the transfer is a load, and he's going to cause a lot of people problems. But and then, of course, you know, the thing that's plagued us throughout the year is some critical drops, you know, and they're all critical situations, but, you know, we drop one in the end zone for a touchdown again. This is a second consecutive week. And then we, you know, a senior drops a bench route on the 1-yard line, and he played a fantastic game, but, you know, you hope your seniors make those plays, and we'll certainly need, and he will, and we certainly need him to do that moving forward. But the fumble in the red zone, the missed field goal, you know, those are and then we underthrew one down here late in the game that we just got to lay it out there and let the kid go get it. You know, those things kind of stick with you that are correctable, and we need to get it corrected. And if we want to come close to reaching the full potential of this team, we've got to play a little bit more consistent up front and value the football a little bit better. But there were a lot of positives to take from the game. Wins are precious, and they're hard to come by, and you take them all, and then when you dissect them, you know that there's some things you can do better.
Maybe just looking ahead to Weber, it seems like your secondary and I guess your whole defense is on call.
Yeah, we're going to be challenged there. Big physical football team up front. You know, they really want to run the football and be balanced. They found themselves behind pretty early the last couple of weeks, and they've had to kind of get out of that game plan. I don't think, you know, there are a lot of coaches in the country, you know, outside of maybe Texas Tech that feel comfortable going into a game knowing you're going to throw it 60 times, and that's what they did last week. They had to throw it 60 times to be competitive and kind of get back in that game. And but certainly they showed some high capability of being able to do that. They had 3 receivers with 10 catches or more, and the quarterback was, you know, very efficient. And, you know, this is a team we struggled with last year. You know, lose by 10, turned it over 3 or 4 times. We gave up a 100-yard kickoff return, a long run, maybe 60, 70 yards from scrimmage or so, and then a pick 6. You know, and you know, those 3 plays were obviously game changers in that game. But got a new coaching staff. There's a renewed sense of energy. You know, just kind of like hopefully what we're seeing here at Stephen F. Austin. The kids are playing extremely hard. They're getting more athletes on the field. This past week they played some dime package against Sacramento State. You could see the improvement of speed that they've recruited. They're 8 or 9 different FBS transfers they've brought in from BYU, Utah State, and all those guys are impacting. So it's a huge challenge on both sides of the football. And certainly we're going to have to be a lot sounder in the kicking game than what we've demonstrated up to this point this year. And we have improved. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think the Texas A&M Commerce, after a kickoff, they're
farthest field position was the 30-yard line, which, most is okay, but last year we gave up a 100-yard kickoff return to this young man, and he's very skilled. So, all three phases are going to be challenged this week. We need to have a great week of preparation.
Just real quick on your secondary, how those guys played, 'cause I know they're gonna be in a good gun.
Yeah, pretty well. I mean, we had an interception back there. We did miss a couple of tackles, didn't align correctly a few times, but they are playing hard. They are coachable, and we're playing a lot of kids back there. As long as they're willing to learn and give the effort, which up to this point they have been, we're going to continue to improve back there. We're not real deep back there, but the guys that are competing are, staying on top and not giving up the big play, and that's been a problem in the past.
Are their receivers fast guys? Are these possession guys? Are they long and lean guys?
Well, they have a combination of all. They've got a little size, they've got some speed, they've got possession guys. The thing that you see is they play so dadgum hard. I mean, they just play hard. They block hard, they run routes hard, they're physical.
Is that the strength of their team, the receivers?
Well, I think it could be, yeah. Obviously, again, I don't think going into the Sacramento State game or the North Dakota State game, the last two games they've played, that they wanted to throw it 40, 50, 60 times. But they've had to do that, and they've done it with some success. And so that tells you they've got a good plan and some good players. And I think they're very, very comfortable with the quarterback. He's an older kid, and even though he's new to Weber State, I think they're comfortable with him, and he's a little playmaker for them. And, of course, we got to see the Smith kid last year, the running back, and there's just nothing fancy about him, fast and physical. And so it's going to be an enormous challenge behind a big offensive line for our defense this week.
I know they're 0-3, but it seems like they're
Well, they've played a very difficult schedule. They opened up at Arizona State, Kansas State. Those are apples to apples. But then they played North Dakota State at home, three-time national champion, and then Sacramento State, a non-conference Big Sky opponent. So their strength of schedule a little tougher than what we've played. They do have to come here. I think this is the third flight that they've had this season out of 4 games. So, we're excited to be playing at home again this week in front of our fans and, our culture here. And we need to have a great week of preparation.
I'll say real quick, talk a little bit about Gus. You see last week rushed for 252 on 25 carries. This week, 130 yards on 13 carries.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate him getting 10 yards a carry for the rest of the season?
Well, that would be nice, right? Gus has really played well, and we pointed out some things that in the run game that he might be able to do a little bit better. We've got to create some creases for him. The thing you worry about with guys that are averaging 10 yards every time they touch it, and certainly Gus has had he's probably already had 10 runs over 30 yards this year. You don't want him to be thinking about hitting the home run every play. The home runs happen. They happen when you get to the second level. Sometimes the great runs are the 3 and 4 yard runs, and a couple of times, it looked like he bounced it outside, squatted in the hole one time. Again, you don't overcoach those guys, but we're looking to get 4 and 5 yards every time he touches it, and the big ones will happen. And after talking to him a little bit, you start getting greedy and you start thinking about hitting a home run every time you touch the ball, which he's capable of doing, but you just have to let those come through touches and through opportunities. And it was great to get Cameron Washington, our junior transfer, Josh West, and Fred Ford more quality work this week. So we feel good about where we are there at the running back position, but obviously a lot of our offense right now is going through Gus Johnson, and it should be. We're good?
Yep.
All right. Is that my clicker?
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting batteries.
I'm sorry.
Hey, that's a no.
real quick and then have rallied, making that switch in your offense, and it's really been paying the dividends. Just kind of recap the week for us and how it's been.
Well, it's been a crazy week. You know, anytime you have 4 matches in a week, there's a lot of teams to prepare for. Physically, it's always very challenging on your team, especially the fact that it's our 3rd weekend in a row on the road. Just the travel and everything. And I will say, you know, by the end of the Louisiana Tech tournament, we were probably running on fumes, needing to get it over with so we could enjoy a couple days off. But you know, Louisiana Monroe, we went into that match, and the first 2 sets were not at all what we had envisioned, not at all what we had planned. Nothing was clicking for us, just could not get anything going. Made the decision to go into the 5-1 there at the break, and have been playing much better volleyball since that point in time. We played, I thought, 3 very good sets against Louisiana Monroe after, you know, digging the hole for ourselves 0-2. Followed that up with UNO. We played very, very well against them. We had, I think, 3 errors, 4 errors, and 4 errors, you know, in the sets respectively. And it's going to be hard for a team to beat you if you're just not making mistakes. And we were just playing good, really good, solid volleyball. Things were clicking on all cylinders. Went into the Pan Am match. They did some really nice things. It was very competitive all the way through, but I was really proud of how our girls just, you know, stayed very composed and kept executing the offense, played a lot of scrappy defense. And, you know, for that and the Louisiana Tech match, it's just, it was a good team victory for sure at that tournament, and it's nice to see us starting to do some things more consistently now.
You mentioned after the win at home that you thought switching to the 5-1 could be the turning point in the season. You've won 4 straight, and even against some familiarity in UNO, who's a conference team, and then your old assistant at UT Pan Am. So how is that switch really just kind of, the offense is clicking on all cylinders?
Well, I think for us more so, you know, we have 3 quality setters and we have 2 quality right sides. We have good pieces there to run the 6-2. But the thing is, passing and defense is such a key. And we are more solid in those areas if we're in the 5-1. And Paige is playing some very consistent ball right now at the setter position. And those pieces, those things are more important for us to have out there right now.
You talk about the defensive play. You had 2 girls on the defensive side, and O.J. Olson and Madison Martin, along with Justice Walker, named the all-tournament team. Talk about their play and what they can do in the back line that keeps those balls going.
Yeah, OJ and Mads both had just a phenomenal weekend. I mean, OJ certainly in the Libero jersey is doing it for 6 rotations. Mads doing it for 3 rotations, but they both had ridiculously good passing numbers. It's hard for opponents to get the ball on the floor with them back there just keeping everything off the floor. And really, you know, sometimes it's hard for a defender to be a real difference maker, but those 2 were real difference makers for us this weekend. And, you know, I don't see any reason that won't continue. They're 2 very consistent volleyball players, so we're excited about that. And they're pieces we need on the court right now. You know, Justice, I think we all know what she's capable of. And she's really starting to put it all together, working really hard as a blocker, and caught on fire in a couple of those matches this weekend and really helped us get over the hump in some close sets.
And then looking ahead now, you go back on the road again to the Rice Invitational with Louisville, Texas Southern, and host Rice. Talk about the week of preparation and then this weekend expectations.
Yeah, we had 4 teams on our schedule preseason that are probably all top 50 programs, and we had Arkansas and Michigan the first weekend, and now we have Louisville and Rice at the Rice tournament. So I think it's a great opportunity for us. We had that opportunity just starting the season. Now we have a few weeks under our belt, and we get to go again against that caliber of competition. So we're real excited again about that opportunity to play teams like that and really see if we can give them a run. That's certainly what we plan on doing is, you know, again, with that using our defense to try and frustrate them as much as possible. And, you know, finishing up strong as we head into conference play. This is our last final tune-up before conference begins.
And then in closing, you said you try to keep the non-conference and the conference as 2 separate seasons. So you're about to close your non-conference season. What have you all take away that you think will play massive dividends in the conference season?
You know, I think certainly figuring out what personnel needs to be on the court is something you want to do in your non-conference season. And then just getting the team to realize the level at which they have to play on a consistent basis, you know, especially for the freshmen. Because the freshmen, it's a whole new world. It's not club, it's not high school, it's Division I volleyball. And I think the biggest change for them is probably the intensity night in and night out. The intensity of practice, all of that is much different than what they're used to. So hopefully they're starting to be a little bit more comfortable as they fill bigger and bigger roles as we go throughout the season. But for our upperclassmen, they're doing a great job, and for them it's just a matter of, hey, you know, this is your last year or two, and for them they're super excited about the opportunities that conference holds for us.
Great, Coach. Thank you for your time and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
No.